The Rangers just swept the Seattle Mariners in a massive series win, taking the first three over a team that beat them in the AL West last year. And this rotation might not be as good as advertised. I think it's even better.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Paddock, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covered this team for 13 seasons, including all 8 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Paddock. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking about a massive series sweep of the Seattle Mariners, why this rotation might just be better than advertised, and the AL West looking a whole lot more wide open than it did just a couple weeks ago. Before we get into all that, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Now, yesterday, the Rangers completed the sweep of the Seattle Mariners, winning their first 3 games against AL West competition of the season in mostly undramatic fashion in the last game, at least. Cole Winn getting his first career save. But the story of this game, which was the story of the series, is that the Rangers rotation is flat out awesome. MacKenzie Gore was just absolutely dominant, basically untouchable in this one. A couple of walks, one of which should have been a called third strike looking, if not for the Rangers catchers and their just complete devotion to not challenging basically ever, even though catchers are the ones who are usually the best at challenging. But 5 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, could have been 10 and 1 walk. But still, even the 1 walk, the ball 4, both of these ball 4s were in the strike zone and should have been called a strike. One of them a called third strike, but I digress. This was a flat out incredible start for MacKenzie Gore. And for those of you who were watching this start or who didn't watch the start, go back and watch this start. For those of you who were in January saying, really? The Rangers traded 5 prospects, 2 of whom were in the top 10 of their system for their number 3 starter? Really? Is that smart? Is that wise to give up that many prospects for a guy with, an ERA around 4 in his career? Yeah, I know he was an all-star last year, but was that just because he was a member of the Washington Nationals? Yes. And also because this guy freaking kicks butt. You do not have lefties with this kind of nasty, disgusting, absolutely unhittable level stuff. And I know this Mariners offense is struggling a bit as of late, but you're going to struggle pretty mightily when you face a guy at the top of his game like this. This was flat out dominance by MacKenzie Gore, who looked about as good as I've ever seen him. I'm a little surprised the Rangers didn't let him go deeper into this game. The Rangers have been pretty careful with their pitchers so far to start the season, only 82 pitches and only made it through 5 innings. I thought he would go a little bit further, and had the Rangers used their challenges more aggressively, I think he gets out of that first inning without a whole lot of drama. It seems like if you throw a lot of pitches in the first inning, you're not going to go all that deep into the game, whether it's, just 20, 22 pitches. It seems like an economical first inning is the way to keep yourself in the baseball game longer, at least early in this season. It seems like the Rangers are being pretty cautious, even with their younger guys, even with Jack Leiter and MacKenzie Gore, both of whom I thought could have gone an extra inning in their most recent start because they look so freaking awesome. But I also wanted to call it a day and say, hey, we got a 3-run lead. At this point, we don't really need to go ahead and, throw you out there for another inning just to keep you healthy for the entirety of this season. And you know what? I respect that. I understand the Rangers wanting to be cautious, and I think if it ends up with all these guys making 25 plus starts that start in your rotation, that's a good result. That is a good result, even if you're getting a few fewer innings here and there, because this was just painting with the fastball, with the curveball. I mean, he had strikeouts on basically everything. The slider was working for him. There was nothing that wasn't working for him, even through a trio of sinkers, the most we've seen in a game in his big league career, because he was not really throwing a whole lot of those really at all. Had 2 called strikes on the sinker, had a called strike or whiff on literally every single pitch, had whiffs on, well, everything but the changeup that got at least 1 swing. A 50% swing and miss rate on the slider, 50% swing and miss rate on the cutter, got a strikeout on each of those pitches, got a 57% whiff rate on the curveball, not to mention 6 called strikes, 5 strikeouts on that curveball. And this game shows you why MacKenzie Gore's curveball is probably the best of any left-handed pitcher out there in the game. Blake Snell's curveball is pretty darn good, but I would put MacKenzie Gore's up there with literally anybody in the entire sport. And one of the things that he did incredibly well in this one is called tunneling. It's been a thing with pitchers. I only recently just learned how to actually learned how to understand it well enough to explain it. But basically, it's when the pitches come out of the hand and it's the phenomenon where they look the same about halfway to home plate, and then they start their break, or at least to the hitters, they start breaking. So out of the hand, that curveball, he was using it very, very well. And the reason he was able to get so many called strikes is because he was tunneling it well with the fastball, would get to the plate. And, where the fastball would be up above the zone if it was thrown like that curveball. And if they thought it was a fastball, they say, okay, well, I'll just take this. It's going to be, 2-3 inches above the zone, and I don't have to swing at it. But then it starts to break down, and it breaks right into the strike zone, right at the knees for a called strike, or it's got some really good horizontal action. And you think, oh no, batter thinks, oh no, that's going to be in the left-handed batter's box. That there's no way that's going to be a strike. And then it bends back in and touches the plate and gets a called third strike. And even some of the pitches up in the zone. I mean, even when he threw a curveball that kind of missed where he was intending it to throw, I mean, he got some really ugly swings at that, including Randy Rosarena when there was a curveball up in the zone. I don't know what he was trying to swing at. He was like both early and just completely flummoxed. You look, if you want to see how good a pitcher's stuff is, you look at the types of swings that it results in from the hitters. If it's getting some just really bad swords, some attempted check swings that they just cannot check their swings, if they just look like they have no idea what the heck they're swinging at, that's how you know you got a nasty pitcher. And it's not just the fastball, it's the curveball, it's the changeup, it's the slider, it's the cutter, and the sinker, just to kind of add one more FU to that just disgusting arsenal. This guy has been flat out incredible for the Texas Rangers. And those 5 prospects, you know what? Fine. You want a 6th one? This guy has been that outstanding. The Rangers gave up Yeremy Cabrera, Gavin Fiend, Devin Fitzgerald, Abimelec Ortiz, and Alejandro Rosario. Happy trails and best of luck to all of those 5 young men. I truly am wishing them the best. Gavin Fiend hurt quite a bit. I'm wishing Alejandro Rosario a speedy recovery from his elbow surgery. Abimelec Ortiz, just a sweet kid who I think is going to make an impact for that national team as soon as this year. Devin Fitzgerald is a guy who really, really like. That one stung as well. And Yeremy Cabrera is kind of a little bit of a flyer. Who knows? He's a toolsy young outfielder who is, getting less young by the day, as are we all, but still has some physical gifts in there. Hasn't quite put together on the diamond just yet, but fine. Honestly, fine. I don't know if any of those guys outside of Abimelec Ortiz are going to make the big leagues this year. And the Rangers needed a way to get their rotation better. They needed a way to get their team better because they were sitting at probably an 83 win team last year. I mean, they were an 81 win team last year, but heading into this offseason with the kind of moves that they made, even with the Nimmo addition, even with the Danny Jansen signing, even with some of the bullpen options they'd brought in, I was like, okay, this is still probably about an 81, 82 win team. And we need a way to get significantly better. And of the trade pieces that were out there, credit to him, I think MacKenzie Gore might be the best one. I mean, the biggest trades that were really happening this winter were Frankie Montas, who was acquired by the Mets. He just had 1 year left on his deal. The Rangers gave up significantly more than the Mets did to go get 1 year of Montas. Some would argue that Montas was a better acquisition, but as of right now, Montas has been kind of mid to bad and also only has 1 year club control, whereas MacKenzie Gore has 2 years of club control, and the Rangers have a left-handed starter that has some of the nastiest stuff in all of baseball. And then you look at Brendan Donovan, who has been pretty awesome for the Seattle Mariners, but the Rangers didn't really need a Brendan Donovan type. So you look at the rest of the pitchers that were acquired that were even on the trading block this offseason. I mean, Edward Cabrera has been pretty good for the Cubs. Ryan Weathers has been, decent for the Yankees, but I would much rather have MacKenzie Gore, even at the astronomical price that it took, because right now it's between either him or Jack Leiter as being the Rangers' best starter. Right now, he has a 2.76 ERA, 16 in the third innings, 25 strikeouts, 13.8 Ks per nine. 13.8. That is flat out ridiculous. Second best in the entire American League. Fourth best in all of baseball. Dylan Cease leading baseball with nearly 16 Ks per nine. That's nearly 2 strikeouts per inning. That's crazy work. I mean, 13.7 is crazy work as well. But still, this is a dominant starter, and starts like this, not just this one, but the one before it and the one before that, literally all of his starts this year. You can see why the Rangers said, oh, that's the kind of guy is going to make us better. Even though this rotation was already pretty darn good with Nathan Eovaldi, with Jacob deGrom, with Jack Leiter, with Kumar Rocker, and even with Jacob Latz, and eventually Cody Bradford possibly joining in, and then you had the additions of Jordan Montgomery. They just needed another ceiling raiser, another guy who could start in a postseason game in game one of a series. I mean, this is probably your game 3 starter, but this is a guy who, if the rotation doesn't line up exactly how you want it, because you're chasing that final playoff spot on the final day of the season, and you can't necessarily line up Jacob deGrom or Nathan Eovaldi in game 1, you put this guy out there in game 1, he is going to go toe-to-toe with literally any starter in all of baseball. And you can see in this start, in his first 3 starts, why the Rangers said, yeah, 5 prospects, that's no big deal, because this guy makes our rotation that much better. But it's not just MacKenzie Gore who's been freaking awesome in this rotation. It's everybody else as well. We're going to talk about why this rotation might keep on getting better, and even though it's already fantastic. All that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters. Every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. Here's what I like about it. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow all the action with the players, stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra intensity really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience even more engaging from start to finish. If you're riding with the OKC Thunder, you think they're going to go back to back, you can go look at those odds on FanDuel. If you're thinking, you know what, I think Luka Doncic is going to bring the whole thing home. I think he's going to come back from that injury, and he is going to lead the Lakers to the promised land. You can look at all those odds. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. The show is also brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill, it's still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners to this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and go support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Shout out to everybody for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be back. I'll be looking at this massive West Coast road trip the Rangers are about to embark on. I'll also be talking about these new City Connect jerseys, which I think are pretty solid. I think the Rangers did a good job with these. Now, there are no Peagles, but I still think they're pretty darn good. So if you want to be part of the Everydayers Club, go to LockedOnTexasRangers.supercast.com to join the Everydayers Club today. Now, this rotation has been flat out awesome so far this season. The Rangers, as a staff, have been one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. Now, their ERA right now through 12 games as a starting rotation is 4.01. That's not quite as great. They've only gone 60 2/3 innings, so just barely averaging the slightest bit over 5 innings per start. But the strikeout rate, good Lord, the strikeout rate. and the walk rate as well. The Rangers have 15 walks and 80 strikeouts in 60 and 2/3 innings. That Ks per nine as a staff, as a starting rotation, that is including everybody who has made a start, including Kumar Rocker, who has not struck out, who only struck out 3 in 5 innings of work. That is 18 or 13.87 Ks per nine. Excuse me, 11.87 Ks per nine as a staff. 11.87 Ks per nine. For reference, Yu Darvish set the franchise record for the single season Ks per nine in 2013 with just 0.02 better at 11.89 Ks per nine in 2013. For reference, he had 277 strikeouts in 1 out shy of 210 innings that year, which, my God, they actually let pitchers go 210 innings in a season back in 2013. But as a staff, the Rangers are just barely worse than the best season by any pitcher in franchise history in Ks per nine. That's how good they've been so far through 10 games. That's not nothing. That's 2 weeks of the season, not quite 10%, but about 5 to 8% ish of a season. They are setting a franchise record as a staff, just about. And that's even with a 3 strikeout performance in 5 innings from Rocker. Everybody on this staff outside of Rocker at least 11.7 Ks per nine. At least 11.7. And the fewest is Nathan Eovaldi, who's, just shy of 12. But MacKenzie Gore is at nearly 14. Jack Leiter's at nearly 14 Ks per nine. Jacob deGrom is right above 12 Ks per nine. That is truly outstanding stuff. And this rotation has a 4 ERA because Nathan Eovaldi has an ERA just 2 points shy of 8. Just 2 points shy of 8. And Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi have not been good to start this season. They've had a good start each. Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi both in their most recent start looking pretty solid, but their first couple not quite as strong. And Rocker, solid. If your number 5 starter is rocking, a 3.6 ERA, that's a really good place to be as a starting staff. But this team was flat out awesome in this series. And in the AL West, every game matters. Every series win matters. And especially going from just a series win to a sweep. What that means is that now the Rangers, they have 9 games left. Yeah, I believe 8 games left actually against the Seattle Mariners. Nope, 10. 10 games left. Excuse me. I think that's right. They have another 3-game series, another 3-game series, and then a 4-game series. So only 3 series left against Seattle Mariners. And because the way it stacks up, I believe that if the Rangers sweep the next series in Seattle, which they play them in, about a week, a little bit over a week at this point. If they sweep that series again, they will, I believe, if my math is mathing correctly, only have to win 1 game against the Seattle Mariners for the rest of the season, and they will have won the season series. That's how important these early series are. That is why every single series matters. And the Seattle Mariners squad, I don't think it's going to be this bad for this long. I mean, they are too talented, especially in the rotation. I mean, we saw it in this series. They were just dominating these Rangers hitters, and they did enough. They did just enough, something they did not do last year. Now, I think part of it is Globe Life Field. We'll talk more about that in the third segment of just this offense in Globe Life Field looking just rough. I think that somehow it's become even more of a pitcher-friendly park than it has been the last couple of years, and it's already been basically the most pitcher-friendly park in all of baseball the last couple of seasons. But this AL West is looking a lot more open for the taking, especially if this Mariners offense continues to struggle, if the Rangers can get out to a hot start and get themselves a lead in this division. Because, I mean, you look at the guys who I thought were going to be the best hitters in this Mariners lineup, the 3 best I thought would be Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor, and Julio Rodriguez. And not a single one of them has an OPS north of 500. Cal Raleigh is leading those 3 with a 481 OPS. Josh Naylor's got a 277 OPS. And Julio Rodriguez has got a 393 OPS. He has been, all 3 of those guys have been flat out awful to start this season. And this Mariners team is 4-9 at this point. Last place in the entire division, and their pitching staff is still really good. I mean, they still got some other guys who have been doing, well enough. Brandon Donovan has been awesome for them. Randy Rosarena has been pretty darn good for them. Dom Canzone has been pretty good. Luke Raley as well. Ref Snyder has been very, very bad outside of that one home run robbery, but still, this is not a team that is going to continue to be this bad for much longer. So taking a series win and turning it into a series sweep at this point is a huge, huge thing. And not just because of that, but also because the Houston Astros are in a rough way. The Houston Astros this week got swept by the Colorado Rockies. The Colorado Rockies, which just absolutely delightful to see some misery befalling that team. But I do not relish in seeing injuries to any team, even the Astros. And unfortunately for the Astros, they are dealing with a couple of injuries. It might be a trio of injuries. Hunter Brown already headed on the IL. He's not going to throw for 2 weeks. He's being shutting down from throwing, and he's got a shoulder injury. That is scary stuff. Wishing him the best, hoping that he gets better. But in the meantime, the Rangers aren't going to, they're not going to revel in anybody having injuries, but they're not going to feel sorry for him either. And they also, immediately after getting that news that happened this weekend, that he is going to be out for quite some time after losing Framber Valdez, they said, okay, well, at least we got Hunter Brown at the top of the rotation, and well, he's going to miss some time with that shoulder injury. And then they said, okay, well, we brought in a whole bunch of other guys. Maybe they'll be fine. Maybe they'll be, helpful in this rotation. And so far they haven't really been. I mean, Brown's already on the IL. Mike Burrows has been just lit up. He's got an ERA north of 5.5. Tatsuya Imai at times it looked really awesome against the A's the other day, but Christian Javier just might also be landing on the IL. He left his last start yesterday after feeling some tightness in his left shoulder. He left the game literally after 1 inning pitched, and they also had their center fielder Jake Myers also leave that game with an injury. So it's been rough. It's kind of the exact opposite of what I expected from the Houston Astros. I thought, okay, their offense is going to be terrible. The pitching is going to find a way to be fine. Christian Walker has found a complete career resurgence at age 35. Not something that I saw coming. Jose Altuve is having what might end up being a career year. Both he and Walker have an OPS that starts with a 1 and not a 170. It's a 1,000. And Yordan Alvarez has been healthy and has a 500 on base percentage and an 1183 OPS, and also leads the league with 13 walks because nobody wants to pitch to him. And then the rest of their offense has been also pretty darn solid. I mean, Yainer Diaz hasn't been great, but outside of that, I mean, Jeremy Pena has been at least league average. Cam Smith has been really great for them. Isaac Paredes has been, fine for them. And their pitching staff has just been kind of tragic to this point and keeps on getting even more hurt. They were trying to rock a 6-man rotation. And when you have injuries to possibly 2 of those guys, it's going to be much, much harder to do that. And when you're relying on Lance McCullers to stay healthy, something he hasn't done in a long, long time. Same with Christian Javier. Neither of those guys have been right in quite some time. And also a rookie in Tatsuya Imai and Mike Burrows, who's been, fine at times, but has been bad so far to start this season. I think this might be a rotation or a division that is, kind of up in the air at this point. I think it is entirely possible that the Rangers could start gaining some ground early on in this season. And if you got a chance to do that, these teams are not going to be that bad for that long, especially if the Astros offense is fixed. They're going to find ways to get outs and have at least half decent pitching. And their problem has not been the pitching staff these last couple of years. So the Rangers really need to take advantage of these wins. Getting a sweep, not settling for just a series win, was a huge, huge moment. And it wasn't just because of this awesome rotation. They got some help from their offense and a little bit of help from their ballpark. Talk about that and more right after this.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and when it comes to our futures, we all have great ideas when it comes to our job, when it comes to our house, when it comes to our vehicles, all that great stuff. But honestly, when it comes to securing that future, I don't know what I don't know. And when me and my wife sat down to figure out the life insurance thing, Ethos made everything simple. Everything's online, you have a quick and easy application process, and you find out exactly what you need for coverage all in one spot. Ethos makes everything so convenient when it comes to learning about your own life insurance, because insurance is something that is far beyond batting average or on-base percentage. It's way out in left field for me. Ethos made it all easy. Take just 10 minutes and get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary and rates may vary.
Now, this Rangers pitching staff did a lot in this one, but the offense also did just enough. I mean, looking at how much this Rangers pitching staff just dominated the Seattle Mariners, they averaged 1 run per game. Seattle averaged 1 run per game in this series. 1 run on Monday, 2 runs, a whopping 2 runs, their biggest outcome in Texas so far this season, and then 0 runs in this final game of the series, finishing it off with a sweep, even without the Rangers having the luxury of their new closer to close this final game out. They got Cole Winn, his first career save, and this offense just continuing to do quite literally just enough. 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and they strung 3 of their 6 hits together, all back to back to back. And had it not been Danny Jansen, maybe that 1 hit would have been a run. But the Rangers found a way to put the ball in play and get some runs. It was not in the orthodox fashion. It's not how I think Brandon Nimmo expected to drive in, but not get credit for RBIs for the first 2 runs of the day. A throwing error by Connor Joe, a guy who spent most of his career in Pittsburgh and mostly a career outfielder / first baseman, not really a natural. This is literally his first major league game of the season, called up today by the Seattle Mariners, and he gets the ball hit to him in a tough spot, bases loaded with, I believe, no outs at that point, maybe 1 out at that point. And credit to Brandon Nimmo, puts the ball in play, makes them make a play. And Connor Joe makes an attempt at a play, but not quite good enough. Throws home to try and get the run out, keep the game tied, but that throw gets away. And credit to the Rangers base runners for making some heady base running decisions. I mean, Josh Smith seeing that ball get away and him going and scoring from second base on a ball hit to the infield and thrown away. That is some heady base running by Josh Smith, and good to see him getting a multi-hit day, nearly a 3-hit day, if not for the robbery of Rob Refsnyder. This is the team that just got 3 home runs robbed by them by Joe Adell in right field in Anaheim, losing that series to the Angels. They said, well, we're going to go ahead and get one back and have, Rob Refsnyder live up to his name and just barely rob a home run. I mean, pretty good play by him. Not exactly the toughest home run robbery I've seen. I think MLB kind of, juice the headline a little bit of, wow, incredible home run robbery. What the most amazing robbery. It was fine. It was fine. Honestly, it was fine. Not exactly, wouldn't exactly have been several rows deep. It would have been a little bit of a wall scraper and a home run in just one other park of 30 major league parks. I love that the home run robbery is taken into account as, a park factor when you look on StatCast and see, all right, how many parks would this have been a home run in? And it honestly would have been a home run in this park, but instead the thing says 1 of 30 because Brandon Donovan was in this park. And Brandon Nimmo, credit to him, he had a multi-hit day and putting the ball in play to get the run home. And then Corey Seager doing his job and Wyatt Langford ahead of him. I mean, doing his job, working his first walk of the season. Somehow Langford's first walk of the season. I don't know how he took longer to get his first walk of the season than Jake Berger did, because Berger has one of the worst walk rates in all of baseball at this point in the season. And, the last couple of years as well. But, credit to him for getting a full count pitch and taking it a good pitch, a very good pitch by Brian Wu, who is a very good pitcher. I mean, he only gives up 1 earned run in this one, goes 5 innings, but credit to this Rangers offense who, was battling. They were trying their best out there, but he was shutting them down pretty mightily the first time through the order, second time through the order as well. And then really once they hit that second or I think third time through the order, that's when they started to get him up. That's when they started to get 40 pitches. I mean, Brian Wu, I thought was going to have a complete game. I thought he might have a no-hitter at one point in this game, but at least a complete game shutout is what it felt like, because it felt like if MacKenzie Gore allowed a single run, that might be enough to doom this Rangers offense, because it has been a struggle. And not just because the offense has been bad, but because Brian Wu has been flat out incredible, not just this year, but last year as well. But credit to them. They worked a very, very good pitcher. They only struck out twice in 5 innings against Brian Wu. And this was just a complete team at bat, an inning full of team at bats, because Wyatt Langford said, yeah, I know Corey Seager has had a rough, last couple of days to start his home season, but it's Corey Seager. Give him a chance with the bases loaded, 1 out, and he will at least put a ball to the outfield, get 1 more run, make it a 3-run cushion as opposed to just a 2-run game. He did exactly that. Corey Seager did his job, got the sac fly, got that 3rd run, and then it was, basically smooth sailing from that point on. Good for Chris Martin to be able to come in what was still a leverage spot, not a high leverage spot, but still leverage spot in the 6th inning, and work a 1-2-3 6th inning. Then Luis Crivello getting his first big league action of the season, looked flat out awesome, getting a bunch of swings and misses, a couple of strikeouts, and 2 perfect innings of work. And then Cole Winn getting the job done. His first career save just after getting his first career win, which is kind of ironic because his last name is Win. But hey, Rangers win all 3 in this series. They got contributions from everybody all the way up and down this lineup. And even though it looks like this is going to be a place that it is incredibly tough to score runs, the Rangers have an incredibly good pitching staff. And, I think last year, part of the reason they had the best pitching staff in baseball by team ERA is because Globe Life Field was playing as such a pitcher-friendly park. And, park factors are great. It's not to say this Rangers staff wasn't awesome last year, but I think the park factors definitely played a role in why this team had the best ERA in baseball. But when your entire staff is striking out, 11, nearly 12 batters per 9 innings, it doesn't matter what park you're playing in, because that team is going to win a whole lot of games, especially when you got a bullpen that has one of the best ERAs in all of baseball. The Rangers still have 6 relievers at this point who have not allowed, 5 relievers at this point who have not allowed a single earned run. Jacob Latz 0 for 28. Batters are 0 for 28 against him to start this season. That is a new franchise record to start a season. Luis Crivello has a 0 ERA. Jacob Junis has a 0 ERA. Cole Winn a 0 ERA. And Jalen Beeks as well, a flat-out 0 ERA. This team is looking good to start this season. It is going to be a tough road trip. I'll talk more about it on tomorrow's show as they head off against the Dodgers. But hey, this is still a Dodgers team that I think is possibly beatable. And even if it's not, getting these 3 wins banked against the Mariners early has to be one of the best early signs for the squad. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.